So let's start. Hello guys, I hope everyone can hear me. And now you can see me also, I think. I'm not sure. Google Hangout is an amazing thing to make screencasts, but it's not working all the time. And my name is István Szép. I'm a graphic designer. I'm Hungarian. 2 weeks ago I made a live drawing and now I'm gonna make another one. And the program I am using is Inkscape. You can see it here in the download on inkscape.org. It's a vector graphical program, very easy to use, and what I'm gonna do with it is what I always do, drawing characters, and I'm gonna show you the tools during I'm drawing. So I just want to make sure this what I'm doing now is on Google Hangout, so after we finish you can see it on YouTube. And here is a question answer link on the appearing on the YouTube video, and if you click on it you can ask me live, and hopefully they are popping up in the right order and I can answer them. I hope my accent is understandable. Some people said I talk like a Scottish man, some people said talking too Hungarian. Yeah, it's because I'm Hungarian, but I was living in Scotland for the last 1.5 years and their accent is amazing. All right. Can someone answer me? Do you hear me? Just write something on the question answer. Yeah, okay. I just made this little face before. So, as I said, Inkscape is a vector graphical program, which means it's working with objects. You can draw an outline and draw like in how you use Photoshop or how you use a pencil. But for example, me, I don't use a tablet, a digital board. I'm drawing with my mouse. So I'm using objects, different squares and ellipses to draw what I want to draw. So I don't need to precisely draw everything in the first second. So a good few people are already here. I'm not waiting for anyone. Alison is here from Scotland. Hello. So what I'm going to show you today is something a bit special, which I started myself. If you saw the header image of the event on Google Plus or on Facebook, which I posted, is one of my bunnies. I was drawing 365 bunnies last year because in last March I made a promise I'm gonna make a bunny every day, and I was doing 95% of them in Inkscape. A few of them were hand drawn, but most of them were Inkscape. And what I like to do when I am walking around in the city or going on an excursion and I make some very low resolution photos with my old phone, I draw on the photos. And my friend asked me last week about how I do it that the colors are matching the photo and how do I come up with these things on the photo. So this is exactly what I'm gonna do now. And I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. Because I have this image, which is giant. It's an old photo of mine. As you see, photos are the same as objects. With this tool, select and transform tool. Yeah, with the transform tool, I just resize it. The arrows are there. I hold Control, so the photo is resized in the right proportion. And as you see, the photo is a little rock with some moss on it and some berries in the back. I just made this photo, I don't know, a few years ago when we had an excursion somewhere in the mountains. And when I was looking for a photo for today's drawing, and I always like to draw little elves and little cute creatures, like from fairy tales. I like this photo, but what I did after is I opened it also in Photoshop before, and you can do this in GIMP, Photoshop, whatever, just to put some effects on it. if you see the difference is already there, because it already gave me the idea what I'm gonna do roughly. I don't know how the little creature gonna look today. I know it's gonna be a little elf, roughly standing here in the middle. What he gonna do, I don't know. What I'm sure about, that I want to blend him into the environment. As you see, I changed the colors. I put an orangey color here so the grass is more green. I put the contrast high. I put a purple blue color on the background so it's more dreamy and like night a bit. And I made a tilt shift effect. If you don't know what is tilt shift, you can look it up later. It's basically an effect to emulate the depth of field of a camera, which you usually see when you are photographing something very, very close. So it's only sharp here in the middle, and the back and the front is blurry. If you don't know what is tilt shift, look up tilt shift videos. You're gonna love that. So it was this image. I'm not gonna talk about it more, how I recolored it. This is not what we are working on today. I have this image. It was quite a big resolution. I can zoom out and work on this. It was about bigger than the page. In Inkscape, if you are totally new to it, here are the tools on the left, and here is a page. This is an A4 page. I always say it every time, and to my students too when I'm teaching. You can zoom out holding Control and using the mouse wheel, or just simply push minus and plus, just minus and plus on your numeric keyboard. And what it does is that this A4 page is shrinking. It means that Inkscape has a lot of space. This is just a reference, like if I would print now, only this tiny edge would be on the page. But I can draw wherever I want. I love this. It's freedom and it's a lot of space. The only limit you have is the memory of your computer. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I have some sketches, really nothing, a little line art figure. So what I'm gonna do is make a little elf standing roughly here. I can do it from few shapes, or I can do it with this pen tool and give the rough silhouette, so I see more or less what I'm gonna create. This is a part of the sketching. If I'm doing something serious, and as a designer, I make a lot of logos and business illustrations, which means that I make illustrations for businesses to communicate what they do. So it has a purpose. So that when the illustration or the logo has a good purpose and I want to make it clever, I make very good sketches. I take care to sketch and use my sketch and develop the ideas. Here, as this is about me having fun and you learning the tools I use, I don't care about the sketch much. What you can already see is that is a big head and a little body, and he's gonna have a hand here. Here gonna be the fingers, and so you can guess what I already want is that he gonna hold up a torch. So why am I doing this? Because here is this lighter color, here is this darker color, and he is holding up a little torch. So he is like lighting up the surroundings. Is it understandable so far? Please guys tell me if I'm too fast, too slow, okay, or I'm doing something stupid with the Google Hangouts. If you have any question in the meantime, just let me know. For example, what I'm doing here is that, if you see, I'm using the second tool, is the edit path or edit node tool. I'm just gonna use it, call it the node tool. Nodes are these little dots. When you draw something, the little dots appear, and then you can reshape it. As you saw, I was already reshaping the leg to make it a bit bigger. And as I told last time also, in college when we were drawing, they always said if they take away the drawing, it always has to look it's finished. Which means that if they take it from your hands and they say, okay, this was it, 10 minutes, done, you cannot work on one tiny detail. It has to be more or less finished. It has to tell already the story. I know it's very rough, but we had a rough teacher and he was right. Because you see already a little creature standing here. I don't like the hands, I don't like the posture, so I can change it. But what I gonna do now is more or less I know it's gonna stand here, and as last time I was showing, I select it, I push Ctrl D, seemingly nothing happens, but we all know it duplicated. I click a color, it's colored to purple now, so I have a white and a purple figure. Why I have a purple figure is that because I don't care what color it is, unless it stands out from the white background. Later on I'm gonna recolor it anyway. And why I moved it apart, as you see before, I wanted to move the head up, and I moved accidentally the picture. It's easier to select stuff when there is no background. So I'm just gonna draw here when I finish and color and everything. I put it back to the picture, and I show you the part about how to actually build it in the image. So I have this little creature, but I want him more like a little sneaky. So I take away the hand. Not golemishly sneaky, but almost. Maybe a hand like this. It's just a rough hand. And if this hand is like this, then what I do now is double clicking and giving extra dots, extra nodes into the lines. And this way I am. You see, I can select more nodes together. If this is clicked on, show transformation handle, I can select more nodes and I can move them together. So I can moonwalk it or whatever, or I can turn them. The point is that he can stand like this, and this like is like this. Yeah, whatever, I'm gonna fix it later. I like this in Inkscape. It's like you can fix it later. Really, you don't have to suffer it. Nothing is like I cannot change it later. Very few moments, things are like, okay, this is when you, for example, merge objects together, you cannot take them apart anymore without a lot of work. But what I already decided with this posture, he's a bit more dynamic, is that he's gonna have eyes and that he's gonna look right up. I don't know what is on the image, what is up there. He's like a little adventurer. I hope you like the pose. The point is that he is like stepping up, stepping down. Because this is more stepping around and looking around, bending backwards. He's more casual, like, I don't know, how you look around like in a shop. This is more like how you look around in an environment which is hostile or, yeah, Indiana Jones style. Okay, I see some questions. It's a good question from Jason, if I'm using any hotkeys for the node tool. If you see, all these tools are bound to the F keys. So it's F1, F2, F3, blah, blah, blah. Node tool is F2, but I just click on it all the time. The other thing, what is good in Inkscape, that whatever tool you use, like you see now I'm using the node tool, the nodes are visible, I push space and it goes back, jump back to the transform tool. So then I can transform. I push space again and it's jumping back to the previous tool. So even if I do a square, let's say I do a pink square, I push the space and then it's transformable. I push space again and I can do a square again. So I use space a lot. That's my favorite hotkey. My other favorite hotkey is Control S, which means save all the time. Save all the time what you do. I already saved this previously. It's called the Forest Elf SVG here on the top. And yeah, I just saved it to the same name. All the time I'm over saving, and because if it's a serious stuff, or just like now, if my machine would break down or whatever, it's good to save. What I did now, just duplicate it again, because I am never sure when I'm gonna change, how I'm gonna change, and I want to, I told this also and I say it all the time, you don't know if changing is permanent or just a fast idea. You don't know if you want to go back to this stance before or even this. That's why I didn't delete it. This is still a good pose. It's maybe this is better, but I'm not sure. So while I'm talking and drawing in the same time, is visible that I'm going somewhere, which means what I already do is that the limbs on the end are a bit thicker. It's like, if you know Powerpuff Girls, I saw once a book online about how the animators supposed to draw Powerpuff Girls, and they said no fingers, no toes, heads supposed to look like a bag of or socks filled with sand. So they said like the hand has to look like a bag of sand or socks filled with sand. So it's very, very funny. What I'm gonna do here now is I'm gonna cut this off. It was just putting one object on the other, and Control minus is cutting it off, or I could go path and difference, and the upper object is cut off from the lower one. Why I did this? Because I was not satisfied with the hand. And here is the thumb, gonna be on the top, it's gonna be separate, and here is the hand. And yes, it's gonna have 4 fingers, it seems. These 2 fingers are just gonna put together as one. So he has that hand. This is much thicker than this one, so I'm gonna play with it a lot and make it a bit thicker. Fix the shoulders also later on. So I have the leg, I have the arms, I want the leg the same way. Let's do bend here. One thing I like to do is that control push the nodes, which makes them from a curve to a corner. If you see this, it's a diamond, so it's standing on one corner. You see this node. Let's make it gray so maybe it stands out better. So if you see this node, it's now a corner, which means I can do this. And if I control click it, then it's a curve. So it's a, how to say it, curvy corner, something like this. What I did here, in the beginning I didn't tell it, I added 2 extra points, so I already settled, okay, he has little boots. And this is very fantasy-like, creatures in boots. Okay, so this is where I am now. I can use these colors. Randomly, accidentally, I got this pink. It's almost like skin color, but let's make it more skin color. Last time I made a mistake. So if I select these objects and I want to color them, I can use the colors here on the button. Yeah, these are default Inkscape colors. If I move this, there is like 265 of them, I think. And what I can do is use the color wheel for coloring. I calling the stroke and fill window with the Shift Control F because of fill. Yeah, fill and stroke. You see it now, I hope. Last time I detached it and it disappeared because Google Hangout only can screen cast one window, so my little window disappeared. So here it is. I'm using the wheel a lot because I see all the color on the outside, and I can play with the hue and the saturation and everything in one little wheel, and find the more or less color on the side and refine it here. Yeah, let's say it's a little elf and it has this type of color. Yeah, and okay, let's make the head also this color. What I want to do is give him shoulders and the neck. If you see, I'm using objects, I'm using the pen tool, and then I'm just reshaping them with the node tool. It's very easy. Now my neck is not really visible. As you see, the legs I made one object, the arm not. It's basically because I'm more or less happy with the legs. I can move them still around, but the arms I can still move around with the transformation. If I pick one edge here. I love this. I love to do this. Do you see this little cross? It's the center of how is it called? Center of rotation. So if I rotate this arm, it rotates like this. But if I hold Shift and rotate, it rotates. The cross goes here, and it rotates from this corner. So I can like hello, and it's very, very funny and very easy way to make your character, because you can actually, you can make the posture yourself. Just saving, checking if you have some questions. So I want to make him a bit thinner. I don't know why. Ah, yeah, more heroic. Longer legs and a bit. But maybe I make the body a bit shorter. Okay. As you see, I'm really playing around. I'm like figuring out how I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do. If this is an elf, it has to have a long ear. Control click it, it's already has the ear. You don't put the eye on the edge, it looks a bit weird. I keep it here. And it has to have a nose. It's always a dilemma how to make a nose from here. And the ear I also gonna move a bit. And I'm gonna Control D, push it to the back. Let's say this is the ear on the back. And the nose is always a dilemma for me, because however you put it down the nose, it's really defining the creature. So if this is a nose, then it's more of an ogre nose. It has to be pointy, but it's very playful, like an elf nose. But also it has to stand out from the face. And if you checked my other drawing about the fox last time, it was about the same. The nose was the same color first. Now I use this purplish color just to establish where I put the nose. And where I put my little elf, being afraid maybe, or being anxious. These are eyebrows, just for you to know. In animation, what I like, eyebrows can pop out from the face, like they don't really have to be. It's funny how, so they don't have to be attached to the face. It's funny how we perceive faces actually, because it's so many things. It's so many things that can define a face, but we never take care about much of the nose when someone is talking to us. We check the eyes, the eyebrows, and the mouth, and that's it. What I'm gonna do now is path and object to path. So I had this circle, and as before, it was a circle. I couldn't edit the nodes. Now it's nodes, and I can make his face like this. And let's make him a happy adventure. What I just did is I pushed V, so it's vertically flipping this little piece of, I don't know, tangerine. And this is his mouth. And he's looking up. So, just for the fun, I Control G it, group it, duplicate, and this little guy, color some color also. Put it aside. You see, I still keep the previous one. This is very far now, but so we started from here to here. This is very far now, but still I keep the original. So now I can just put him in, and let's see how it will look. It will look nice. At least I'm satisfied with it. What I'm gonna do is obviously work on it more, and then put him in the environment. So okay. I fix the boots. I could draw the boots later on. I don't know. I like this part. Doesn't really matter. could be a separate object. A lot of times when we do clothing and this and that, we do separate objects. And now that I want to edit, I've pushed Shift Ctrl G, so it's not a group again. I could just go into the group and edit this. Imagine groups as how is it called? Braces, or how is it called? When in mathematics you put something in braces and then that part of the equation counts as one. It's something like that. So groups is like you put all your objects in a plastic bag. You select them, Ctrl G, make group, and then you move them around and you size them and whatever you want to do. With Shift Ctrl G, you take them apart again. So I have this little creature. I like this hand. It's very bulky and very big, and I like how it goes. I give him a shoulder. I give him what is it? Armpit and the deltoid, maybe? I don't know what's the name of this muscle in English. And I give him some fingers here, and also make this hand bigger because it's ridiculously small compared to the other one. And here is a bend which I shouldn't make. If I don't want a node, I just click and delete. It's very, very easy. Click on it, delete it. It's a bit froggy. I will fix it later. What I want to fix now is, I don't know, the eyes are so empty. I delete this one and I duplicate the eye and move it around. Why I do that? Because if I would just move the objects, the iris, it would be easily a bit looking, you know, cross-eyed. So instead I just copy the whole eye together. A bit better. What I like is bigger eyes. Because this is further, this can be a bit smaller than this one. Not this much, but looks a bit overly happy still, and I don't like it because, as I said, I want him to be cautious. So he's like, okay, what's happening? He's saying like, ooh. So I change the eye from this very, very big smile. I keep the smile around. It looks like a kidney though. And he's no more cautious. Select the whole face. And not the neck. And I turn it. It's like he's like, not good. If it's turned this way, I have a feeling that the head is up. And it has a strange wave here. So what I'm gonna do, that he's pulling his neck in, how we say it, and he's still looking up with the eyes. And after all, the body posture is a bit weird. As you saw before, it's a very nice, neat trick. When the hand is appearing, you can move a node, or you can move this whole line. If I move this, this is also bending because this is a curve. What I do is that I put a node here, because I like how the leg is coming down, or even I like this one, and you see, I change the upper body and only this tiny portion, and the leg stays how it is. It's a very nice trick. It's basically like almost I'm like locking out this part. Of course it's editable and everything is not locked out. Just moving this curve is not changing this one. It's a good question about saving. Yes, I usually save other versions when it's like a very big change, like in logos and everything, mostly in logos or in other designs I do in Inkscape, or even in this, I would decide now that it's not gonna be an elf, but it's gonna be a squirrel or whatever, really, really different. Then I would save this and save a forest elf 2, and I would do this. Now, because it's a small file, I can just duplicate a few more. When I think it's too much, and maybe it's too much effects and too much objects and my computer was slow, then it would be worth saving and restart it. It's also good for, for the ideas to restart, so you don't see everything go together and you can still open the files. But what I like is that I see how my character was coming around and how it changed and developed, because now I put it and I can see like, okay, I started with this and it has a little evolution and how the face changed and how the things are happening on it. What I am doing now, because he's like the naked elf. I'm exactly gonna fix this. As I said before, being very precise is very, very important. So these tiny edges needs to be correct. No one gonna zoom in this much, but on the whole thing, it's gonna look awesome. I don't know if you see it, but here's a tiny white line I just corrected. And maybe the proportions are not right, but it's not anatomic. It's a little elf I just made up now, so I don't really care. What I want to do is that Sue asked for a lantern. I don't know, I'm so much into the torch. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna make a torch. Just she said in the question answer, like, can I make a lantern? Maybe, but I'm like more in the torch now. Sorry, and when I'm drawing, and I was also drawing the rabbits, people were asking stuff, and I'm like, no, because this is just for my fun. But maybe if we have time, I make a lantern. As I was talking about the lantern, what I did, I was double clicking the curve, added some nodes, and I bent these little legs, the node handles, and I made little curves, which is already helping me to define the shape of the hand. And it's still one object. The hand is coming out. Good. And this other hand is so blocky, and the other one is so nice and rounded. So I'm just gonna round this too. I made this now a bit darker, so I see where is the palm. I'm gonna fix it later, it doesn't matter. You will see what I mean by that. Just now I use this darker color, so I see more or less how the thumb is coming. But I keep this separate because this is gonna be bright and this is gonna be dark. Not this dark, but darker. Because if you look at your hand, you bend it, your thumb is like coming out towards you, like it's, process of evolution. Your tongue is closer as your other fingers are in another plane. So this could be in one color, in like one piece, and my thumb is more out of the picture. So I take care about this frogginess. And I make the pinky also a bit bigger. And remember, I said it's gonna be 2 fingers, but no, it's gonna have 3 fingers on. A bit better, still not as big as this hand. I can say it's because downer, but it's not true. More or less like this. Also, when I do logos or when I do other stuff, zooming in and out is crucial. So I'm working on this part, or like working on the hand, and then I zoom out and I check everything. Why I'm happy now almost with my little elf if you are standing up and turning your body, your torso, what it's doing, you're gonna have this direction. Oh, I just draw here an arrow. You're gonna have this direction of standing up and slightly bend. So this is just, I show what direction it goes, like whoosh, upstairs, upwards. So what I want to do is put it out a bit and turn this a bit, and with this give him some knees. So he's more bent, it's twisting the leg. Let's give some ankle. I don't like to draw boots and legs from this view. It's easier to do from the side. But if you know the comics Asterix and Obelix, you know the French comics from the little warrior and the big chubby one, that can really help you to make how to draw the leg. What I'm doing here is like double clicking the node, a lot of the curve, a lot of time giving new nodes, and these nodes are helping me to create the shape of the boot. I don't know, I like this part very much, that's why I'm like doing it. So the boot is a bit more booty. And okay, here we are. Is it okay? Is it understandable so far? If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm doing it anyway. It's just good that I talk and people are asking, because this is keeping things forward. So back to my little F. The posture is okay-ish. Maybe even make it bigger. And I'm still not happy about this leg. I just want to make it longer and make the knees too much broken. Maybe, like when you leave your leg on the outside when you are stepping, maybe something like this. No, too much. Okay, I'm gonna just Control-Z it. So I save it and give it a gradient. As you see how I use gradient, people were asking how I'm using it. I just draw a gradient. With the gradient tool, I can push G, I think, and having it the gradient tool. And this square and the dot in the circle is showing two edges of the gradient. If this is a linear gradient, and I just picked up this color, what I do is on the end is the skin color, as here is not. My thing is that it's linear and here it's ugly. I do two things. I draw, first of all, this and this with Control plus or path union. I love this union. Control plus, it's one object now. So I merge these two with Control plus or path union, because this is gonna be, it's like, this is coming down, this is the thumb. I'm checking my hand how it looks actually. And this gonna be the palm. And it's almost good. What you see here is a giant gap. And that part of the palm I want darker, yes, but not this dark. And if you see here, if I select an object, it's showing it's a linear gradient. I push this and it's gonna be radial, which means it's like a circle coming out, the darkness is coming out from the middle. So if it's coming out from the middle, it's more of a palm. Okay, it's not 100%. I'm gonna work on it a bit more. Okay. So this is the hand now. It looks a bit creepy, but I'm gonna fix it. This is good in maybe this is good for our generation, people with short attention span, because you can say, ah, you have so much. People say you have so much patience drawing this. First of all, no. Second of all, I jump around the different parts. I jump from I fix the hand, I fix the head. All together, I see a creature standing up, and I'm just thinking about the lantern. This is like, should I make a lantern or should I make a torch? Okay, I make now the torch because that was my previous idea. I could. You see, I'm so kind. I'm still thinking about it. It's like if this is the torch. So this is like a big match, but it's gonna be the torch. I show you here some nice trick. I know the elf is still naked. If it's embarrassing, I can give him a strange wetsuit. I'm gonna color it later. I'm gonna show you a little trick now of how to make an object looking like yeah, if I hold something in my hand, yeah, if I put behind, it could look like this is the left hand, but you know what I mean. If the hand is covering it totally, it's like it's behind it, it's fine, but it's not good. I want the fingers here wrapping around the object. So what I'm gonna do is I want it to look like this. I have my object, it's continuous, and I want it to look like this. I want it like here gonna be a thumb again, not even, I'm like, here is a thumb coming on the top, very much like on the other one. Here gonna be a thumb. So you see, I'll just color it this color. So this is a thumb, and here gonna be the fingers under the thumb. So what I do is simply I just draw over the object. What I'm gonna end up with is the thumb I push on the top. I can move objects on the top with this. You see, objects are under and over each other. I told this before also. With the page up, page down, and home and end keys, I can push things up and down. So what is over, what is under? What I did here, roughly, I made the fingers. I recolor them so I see them. And I have a thumb, the thumb on the top. And I just control click the nodes. And he's already, I moved this a bit because I want to make, it visible that this is circular and how the thumb is going around. And here is the thumb. Here, how the muscle of your thumb is working. When I draw stuff like this, I always look at my hand, move my hand. When I draw faces like this, I'm always making faces like this. A lot of animators and illustrators have a mirror next to them so they can see their face. I also use that sometimes, but for me, is enough just to make the face. I imagine I'm looking crazy when I'm doing that, but it works. And here I can use with this almost the same gradient I used here. How I do that? I want the same gradient. I click on this object, I click the gradient tool, and here it has a gradient with a number. I hope you see it. I don't know if it shows up, but here in the top, I hope it shows up in the Google Hangout. Yes, it does. So in the top there is the color and the gradient, the two colors, and it has a number 4002. So I know that if I want the fingers colored, I click the gradient, and from this drop-down menu I select that one. And I just take care. Okay, if I use that gradient, you see here is darker than the fingers. What my problem is that this node is out of the object. If it's in the object, it's gonna finish at the color, and it's gonna be the same color. You know what I mean by finishing? Is that it finishes here in this color, so whatever is here gonna be the perfect color. They match because it's the same color. So it's basically the thumb. This has to be more like this because the fingers don't go under this muscle. Okay, I'm more or less happy with this, and the color is might good, might not. Maybe I'm gonna use it, maybe not. I will see. What I could also do is just remove this and make the fingers also here. Doesn't matter. Oh, maybe it's a good idea here. It would be like a shadow. When I'm drawing myself, I'm not talking, but usually the process is the same. I'm just seeing stuff and like, okay, this would be nice like this. This would be nice like that. Okay, so more or less I have this. I'm coming back to the head later. What I'm gonna do is, if this is a torch and here will be a flame, let's say here will be a flame, then let's save it. He's gonna stand here. Now you understand what I meant by the lights and everything. So I know that he has a torch and the light is spread around him. If the light is coming from here in these drawings, and it's called not a spotlight, in 3D I think they call it omnilight, like our sun is, yeah, I think so, that is going every direction. So it's not direct. Okay, 3D people are gonna say I'm crazy, but it's just more or less the idea. Is the point is that here is stronger and it's coming from here, so I know where it's gonna cast the shadows. So if the light is coming this direction on the little elf, let's say on this direction, I know where the light is coming from, and I know which part's gonna be bright and which part's gonna be dark. So I just color the head now to a darker color. And this is usually the point where I like take care that the color is matching the background a bit. So it's a darker color, but if it's gray, it's not matching totally. It's too much matching. If it's skin color, it's good, but he's not standing out too much. So if this is from the environment, if this is the dark skin color, here I left this could be the bright skin color. So what I need to do with the face, now I just double click the group, I'm inside the group. What I'm doing with the face is I give it a color, I make the shape of it nice. You know what I mean? It's like the light is coming from here, shining on the face. I can give it a gradient to make it softer. So like here the head is turning. You see, it's just a simple gradient. If you use the gradient on whatever object and you just pull it, it's gonna use the color of the object running into the color of the object with zero opacity. You see it? So this is actually transparent, as you see. Here on the face, what it creates is a bit of 3D-ish effect. And oh, this is not even a curve. Oh my god. Object to path. This helps me to shape the face a bit now. Just from this I had an idea how I want the shape. Not a total circle, but so the head is a bit like elongated, about this part. Elongated, how do we say? Oh my god, my English is so bad. What I'm gonna do is, I know this yellowish colors, and the torch has this orange yellowish colors, and because of that I want to have here also orangish color on the skin, because an orange fiery torch not gonna have a white light. So what I'm gonna do is just draw here an object. This is very bright orange. Let's say this is gonna be like that after all. Even more like, let's say, yeah, fiery. So I want to make this color more orange than this light actual color. How am I gonna do it? I put an object here. So what I want to do is that recolor it slightly yellow. I could use the wheel and turn it around, but I could do another little trick, which is I select this node, I use the eyedropper, whatever color I pick up, it's gonna be this color. And this is the very best part in what I really miss in Photoshop, I think, and in a lot of other tools, that Inkscape can, with the eyedropper, can get an average color. So I can get an average. This is too yellow. This is yellow and slightly the same color, but with a bit more yellow, you see? Now we are almost there. Even a bit more yellowish. Just have to select it. Yeah, something like this. You see, that's the difference between these colors now. And then I just use this with the eyedropper tool and get it everywhere. I hope everyone is enjoying it as much as I do. If you have questions, please ask. We are roughly about 50 minutes. I'm not gonna work much more on it. I'm gonna finish it though. Okay, everyone is happily watching. Thank you. So let's go and finish this part. Actually, the neck is in front of the head this way, like the head is bending backwards, and then the neck has to be this dark color also, slightly coming to a lighter one. I could use the same gradient, or I could pick my light colors from wherever. See, I can get average colors, and I just, yeah, this is it. So I have my little elf. I can fix the nose also, and I will. What I do is just still take it aside and break the group. It's just faster that way. I don't have to tiptoe around the photo and everything. So to make the nose, I make a gradient from the skin color around it to this purplish pinkish color. You see, this is transparent, so I take the skin color, and I just try to fix the nose. I can put a little highlight here. So like, his nose is shiny. The mouth is not really good yet. I'm gonna do the same, Control Shift C, and he's like changing the mouth a bit. And also the mouse color can be not black but darker brown. It's very important to match the colors, I think. Okay, what am I missing here? If it's an elf, it needs to have a hat. I'm gonna draw a little hat like this. Now it looks a bit crazy. What I'm gonna do is to put it behind. Yeah, or put it back and fix this one, because the head has to be on the head. And now back to the eyebrows. If you think so, if you think about what I did before, I put them on the top. I don't care if they are in front of the head. Why I don't care? Because I want an expression. And this is not an anatomical drawing. It's a little elf. I just made it up. So I don't care. Here, the ear, I also take in front. So it has this part of the head and the back part. And also I want to make the head that it's covering, like, you know, the back part of the head. And now is the part when I'm gonna play around with the clothing, and then I'm gonna show you more about the colors. Hope you like it so far. It's very cute. I like my creatures when they happen to be, I don't know, cute and a bit frightened and a bit silly and not knowing what's gonna happen to them. Because this is how I feel myself every day. We never know what's gonna happen, but we just, you know, we just do our stuff. And this is the little hat. And this back one I make darker. So now more or less I have the hat. And it looks like a hair, I know. Still like this. So these I make them bigger. Not good. It looks very much like a beard. Yep. Okay, are you still here? I hope everyone is following and my connection is still up. Yes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is this part is quite okay. I'm gonna fix this one. This is the, what is it, the palm. I'm gonna fix that also later. And I want to do something about this upper body and the shirt and everything I want to give on here. It's very easy. Is basically I'm gonna draw roughly the shape of the clothing with little edges on. And I make this edgy, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna fix it later on. And here it comes on the shoulder. And here I am. I just click roughly around. I don't care if it's this much like a cactus. I'm gonna click on them, as I told earlier, control click, so I have the little curves. Yeah, I'm always singing and talking to them all the time. I want to see what is under, so I push Control 5 or view, display mode, outline. With Ctrl 5 you can toggle from full color to this one, which is just an outline, and it's helping you to see behind the objects. And then this one, coming back, perfection. And now I fix this part, same way. I see how it's bending the arm behind it, even if it's a bit weird and like rubber, I still want to follow that arm. And this is too much of a shirt. Pitch. Yeah. It's like an open chest. And I want to give him some trousers. So what I'm gonna do is that separate the legs actually after all. While I do that, I drew this rough big object. With shift click, I select the body object and this big shape, and I make path division. As the name says, it's gonna divide the lower object by the edge of the upper object. So I do this, and then this was divided. Ta-da! What happened is that now I have a leg separated from the upper body. So far so good, colors are coming together. Let's see it again on our little scene. The posture is right, and now I put it into the image finally. I cannot avoid it anymore. I like this green color. If you know, my company is called Pastel Design. I really like this color. The point is that it's not really out of the image. Or I change the photo, so it's not standing out. It's almost the same as color as the moss. As with a little creature like this, hiding and living and hunting, it's very... I can imagine that, yeah, it's possible that he has moss color clothes, but I want him to be visible on my image. So I can do two things. Change his color, or, you see, I just take out colors from here. It's quite matching. So change the color of his shirt, or change the color of the background, of the environment. What I did now, I just used a purple from the background. Maybe he has a little purple shirt, and maybe his hat gonna be green. This greenish. You see, I take out average colors from the image. Doesn't really matter. It's like, yeah, if I find the color I more or less like, I can tweak it here with the wheel. Yeah. Not good. Almost. Yeah, I picked from Mauricio. It's a question. How did I pick the colors from the image? Yes, thanks for the reminder. Yes, I picked the color from the image. You can pick any color inside Inkscape, even if it's coming from the photo. And this is the part, second part of my drawing now. I hope I'm gonna finish not in an hour, but really like in 20 minutes approximately. What I did earlier is I was making a figure matching the idea of the image, and what I want to do now is pick the colors of the image by my hand and then decide as a designer what I want to go with, but basically using the colors of the image to match the figure into the environment. So what I'm doing is picking colors from the image and using the eyedropper tool as before. If you hold, this is the best part in Inkscape, as I said, if you hold it, you can get an average. So if I select an object like this hat and I hold it, I get the average of that part of the image. Do you see the circle? It could be also this purple. Oh, maybe this purple is even better. He's standing out nice here. What I want to do is, if this is the hat, I want this one. So he is well lit. And what I said earlier about the face, I love this now, this big standing out color, because the torch has this much light. Maybe it's not good if he's looking at the torch. Maybe he's gonna look downstairs. Yeah, and the torchlight is coming from the top. Now I just put a gradient on it. So he is torch lit. And then maybe this was also not a good idea, but let's go crazy with this color and see how it looks if it's like totally yellow. Okay, it looks very weird. But maybe I can pick from between. No, too dark. What I try to do is that make this that the torch is giving out a yellowish light, and it's still bright. So what I do is I go back, okay, and go back to this a lighter yellow. I make this fadey, and then I make the whole object. It's now 100% opacity. I make it 60. Looks now green, but stands out nice that the color is coming from here. I'm gonna come back to this later too. And now I just break my group, keep it here on the image because now it's like this part. I want to know what's happening. He has a trouser, he has the boots. It's one piece. Just to make it easy for myself, I make it a gradient, and the bottom part is this, or a darker of this version, and the top part is this. I'm gonna show you. So what I did so far is to color and color match a bit to the image. So the figure is in the image but standing out. The other thing I'm gonna do just now is, if he's standing here, how his shadow is cast, how the things and the objects are lit around him. And the fire I also gonna do a bit better, okay? So let's do that now for a bit of change. I have this brown, I make this very dark, and I do cartoonish fire. As you see, I just make a whatever shape, I make it orange, and then I make another whatever shape. It's just really go wide with these guys, it's zigzagging. More or less I have the shape, like in the beginning, more or less of the figure, more or less I have the shape of the fire, then I just control click wherever I think I should control click. This is the base, here it's a bit bigger. And these I can, no, even I can shrink them in, move them in, so they are coming from the torch. Sometimes I don't make this curve, it's good that there's an edge. It's really up to you. Okay, I have these, I'll make this bigger. Okay, so now it's more of a torchlight. It's not as bright as it was before. These are semi-transparent, they are 60%. I make them upper to 80, and I group them, and they get a gradient altogether. A gradient into a darker orangey color, reddish, but it's even more transparent. So here I have reddish colors, here I have more yellowish, but the bottom is more transparent than the top. This way I have these intersections which are having this randomly fiery feeling. The other thing I'm gonna do, and this is a bit heavy on your computer, is make it how the torch is emitting the light. It's more or less gonna be a circle, but you can play with it. I just make a rough thing, a rough shape. I know it has to be this bright yellow orange thing. and I select the object. Opacity is 20, can be higher, you will see, and I turn up the blur. Here is the blur, and the blur is working. I put it a bit slower, smaller. I can make it bigger, doesn't really matter. And this is one part, recoloring an image and stuff, what I did before I did with Photoshop. But this is a part I can do with Inkscape. Because if I see this is nice and orange here, giving out a shadow, this part is not dark enough for me now. Do you get what I mean? It's like, it's not dark enough for my image. If the little guy is standing there and his shadow is coming this way, then simply the front is not dark enough. So what I do is I pull this one here. You see already the darkness is appearing. Would be higher the opacity, and then I just blur it. I don't care much about how the shape is, because I'm gonna blur it anyway. So it doesn't have to be. If I push Ctrl 5, you see switching between. It's a very weird shape, but I don't care about it because I'm gonna blur it. Why it is good for me is that now it has a darkness here, and my little character kind of has a shadow, and my image is a bit better, I think. How it works is that I can even give it a gradient, so it can be blurred and gradient in the same time. What I'm gonna export is only this part, so it doesn't matter what is over on the edge of the image. And what I want to do here is the same thing, but the opposite. Giving now out the light. Same way. I could use layers for this in Inkscape and set the layers for color and whatever, but I don't. And it's because I don't really use layers. I don't really feel like. You can, but for me it's easier just to use objects. This part is also a bit. I just take away this object, and because I just want to have the same color, I just take the same object and make it covering this part in the back. It's really just making a very, very rough shape and spread it out. So it has the feeling that that part is darker, that part is colored bluish, purplish. And here it can be. I just wanted to use the same gradient, that's why I did. Okay. So what I have now is this very yellowish part and the darkness around him. And also this one I'm not very satisfied with. Or I'm doing like this. Or I'm gonna use more of the yellow one. I don't care if they overlap. Shadow and light overlap anyway, if there are no sharp objects, sharp edges. I melt it, merge it together, and here I am. I did a lot of things, not really visible, but if I remove them, you're really gonna see the difference. So if I put the image on the top, you see the difference. What happened now that my leg and this color is not really matching the image again, so I slightly, you see my image, my machine is slowing down because blur is taking away really a lot of resources from the computer. So what I do is I use again the eye picker, what is the eyedropper, and pick a color. It's almost the same bluish purplish as it was before, but more matching the surroundings. So I have the head, I have the body, I have the leg. I have to fix this part, the hand, and some colors also here. And this I'm still not satisfied with. I'm gonna do is that I use this one from here, use a gradient on the object itself. So it's really, let's see how we look now. So he's really holding a torch and it is really light. My only problem is that his hand is lighter than the torch, which is stupid because, yeah, if you have a torch, that's the lightest thing you have. So, or I make this darker, or I make the torch lighter. It's my decision. The thing is that, yeah, this one is just, made the contrast bigger. And here I'm still try to get this yellowish color. So I try to do what I did before. Is this color? No, I'm gonna do it otherwise. I just believe my eyes and make it more reddish yellowish, orange a bit. Maybe better. It's very heavy to get the colors right actually. And then I just need this one. Oh, I forgot something very important. If he has a nose here, then this nose makes a giant shadow. Let's see if I just take it out. Oh, too much. Okay, he has a big nose, but not as big. Don't be evil. And shadow gonna start from here, and his nose is casting somewhere here. Let's see now. Way better. But then I'm not seeing the mouse, so I make it dark. Yeah, actually I can delete the mouse. Like, now he looks like Chris from Family Guy. Okay, I didn't want that. It's still good. You can still be happy now. It's very Chris. I can make this color easier if I give this a gradient too. The shadow color. So basically how I made the shadow, no, it's gonna be rough shadow. How I made the shadow is that there is this highlight and I cut out the shape of the nose shadow out of it. Okay, are there any questions? I always have to look back. So now I match the color of the ear and I duplicate the ear and I give it an edge. Give some colors from here. Why I do this is because I take a color from the base, a color for the top, and this way I can build the ear as I want. So like he is more of an elf. And this ear is also very bright because it's very close to the actual flame. This color I also pick this one. This is my bright color now. You see it's more yellow than it was earlier. Even for my dark part I pick my dark one. Yes. And I'm just trying to fix the hand. Because this hand is up here, it has to be Yeah, it has to be a bit bright. Basically what I do now is just matching gradients. It's more or less okay. I know what I miss is that lines between the fingers. I miss. I just put it lower. Here I bend them, and I use Control and the star to cut it. So if I look it up, it looks more or less as the thumb is out and colorful and bright, and the other fingers are behind. And this part I'm just gonna match. I'm just gonna match like this. It's too bright. Still don't know how to do that, but thumb looks very weird now. I realize it's to be rather inside than to the bottom. Okay, the hand is a bit weird, but I'm gonna come back to that later. And I recolor this gradient too. Dark part, bright part, dark part. This dark, and I make this one bigger. So how we are looking now is like this. I'm very happy with the face. It's a bit 3D-ish. It's coming out nicely. The flames are, if I want to kill my computer a bit more, I select the flames, and I also blur them a bit, slightly, not much. To make them even more stand out, I can put in behind or just around the flames, I can put one more dark object. Let's cut this dark purple, make this very dark purple. And just blur it again. So the flame is standing out even more. Not much, just a bit. And this one I'm still not satisfied with, so I'm just gonna make it bigger, and I'm gonna make it less obvious. I like to do these subtle solutions. So we are at 1.5 hours now, and I hope you're following and you're learning. I'm almost finished. I'm not gonna make every little detail, but put some lights on here and put some lights on here on the top and on the bottom, and I'm done. I always switch back to this view without effects because it's basically counting blur in real time. It's slowing down things very much. So what I'm gonna do now is just put one little lighter part on the clothes. Very easy. It's almost invisible. It doesn't matter really, but what is gonna help me is to make the shadow of the head make the shoulder, make the armpit. It's just for me helping me to make it even more. standing out. Yeah, and then I even make it's almost not visible, it's almost transparent, and then I even put on a gradient. So what it did is just giving a shadow of the head here. So even if it's a head shadow, then this cannot be as bright as the top. Can be brighter, but not as bright. So here is how my little explorer is looking. What I'm not very satisfied with is the hand, because maybe it has to be just dark. And then the fingers are standing out, and then this thumb is standing out. And then maybe it's better. So see my computer struggling with doing all the gradients and all the stuff. In the same time, this is the same. I know what's my problem. If I remove this, it was looking too yellowish. And what is my other problem is that here has to be, under thumb has to be a shadow. Okay, bear with me a few more minutes. I hope some of you are still watching and taking notes. I know this is much longer than the previous one, but if I'm doing a good drawing, that takes time. This object I just put behind the thumb. And this is then the shadow of the thumb here on the finger. Maybe it's not even this big. But something like. And what I can do here is to make this even darker. So how we are now is this one. And just one little thing I want to show you. And I could work much more, and I put back the lights, come on. I could work much more on my creature. I know there are some mistakes here and there. But what is happening and what I want to show you is just one more thing, is how to make my character standing into the environment more. We have a slight shadow around him. We have him, the lights matched and the colors matched the surface. What I want to do is that he is standing in the grass. So what I'm gonna do is draw little grasses here. It's gonna be looking like I'm doing a lot of job for nothing, but you're gonna see why I'm doing this. I could follow the grass under it, but now I just, because it's so random, I don't care. I made a giant object over it and a small one under it, and I cut out the small ones on the bottom from the giant one. Why is it good for me is because I have this shape which I'm gonna use as a clipping mask. Clipping mask is exactly like this. Set clip. What I did is this one. I was covering it, so it's a very tiny detail, but bear with me for a bit. I covered this part so the image is visible from under. If I take it back, so this clipping mask can be any color, what helps me design. So if I take it back and make it a bit more curvy, I can use it in my drawing, because what is happening that where the clipping mask is over the drawing, that's gonna be visible. Where it's not over drawing, that's not gonna be visible. So again, select the object under, select the clipping mask, right click, set clip. What is happening is this. Very, very small detail, but it works. You see now, you see that he is actually standing in the moss, and he is there. And I have this big shadow here. It's very, very blurry, too blurry, and I give him another shadow because he's standing this way. So this is his way of standing. I make this also this purple. You see, I just get an average purple, and I just make it with a gradient, and I put it behind the elf. And I make it quite transparent also. What I want to do is just put him into the environment. If he is really into the environment, what I see here is, because this is not a what is it? Not a flat surface. Then this is bending. Here it's gonna disappear. Here it's gonna disappear. Here it goes, but it has to be disappearing here because this rock is here and it's breaking it. So this part, this line here, not supposed to be visible. Okay, now I have to really switch to this view. You know what I mean? I finished it here. No, not good. If it's coming and this is an edge, I just break it here. I think that's better, because if it's an edge and the shadow is over it, it's coming like this. Yeah. So I have my little creature now. He is casting a shadow. He is casting a light. He is standing in the moss because I have this part selected. My only problem is, again, the stupid fire is not really bright as I want it. So I just really have to go for it, and I say, if it's casting this much light, then how bright it has to be. You see, it has to be very bright. Okay, I hope you learned a lot and you got my point. I still have to work on the fire. It's never going to be finished properly. At least not today. As it is one group, I can still recolor it and put a gradient in it and everything as one group. I am trying to make it much brighter, so it's standing out. Yeah, I see it's much better. What I wanted to do, I actually did. If you look at the image, the first thing you see is this bright part and then this bright part. So illustration-wise, how we say, I'm leading the viewer and I built a nice pose. And I don't care if this part is not very visible or the hand is a bit weird. I mean, I care, but now I don't have much time. I would put 1 more hour into this and it would be much more detailed. But how it is now, I just gonna, if you check where we are now, where is my creature? I just duplicate so we see. We started from here, from a little dancey crazy elf to a very happy crazy one, and then we are somewhere here now. If you see it again, so we started with this one, then changed the pose to a bit more curious or stressed, but then the face was too happy, and then I just finished with this one, colored, give it some lights, give it some shadows. It could have much more work, and then I was matching it to the environment. I really hope you liked it as much as I do. I really like to draw little creatures. If you want to get the Inkscape, it's available on inkscape.org. Last thing is to save and get my logo on it, as I always do. If I find it, yes, it's here. I always take my logo, so I put it on my work. As it is super bright and not matching, I just take a color of the image again, not visible. Oh, I can take actually this moss color. Yeah, something like this. No, I can put it here and put the dark color. Perfect. So I have this, still not sure which one is. I know this is the heaviest part. How is my logo invest? Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is export it and put it up for Inkscape groups and this and that. Because I like to show off what I do. Is there any more questions? Last round. Okay. I don't see any questions coming in now. So I consider this is almost finished. If you have any questions, I'm gonna be online on the Facebook or anywhere under the YouTube video because this goes to YouTube. Yes, this is good. What if it's white? Oh, it's good. So if you have any questions, let me know. Oh no, one more little thing. If it's like, if I want to make it really good, it needs sparkles. I could work on it much more. I just spray some sparkles around, you know, just to make the fire really sparkle. So what I want to do, I don't like that. What I want to do is just save it and upload it. If you have any questions, just let me know. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Take care and see you in a few weeks. Thank you very much, guys, for the questions and the feedbacks during. So I promise next time I make you a lantern. And yeah, see you in 1-2 weeks. If you want to make your own screencast and live drawing, you can ask me on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, Google Hangouts, and I can tell you how I set it up. It's a bit weird sometimes, but it works. All right, take care.